You think you're ready for AI. Everyone's talking about it. It's the new hip and trendy topic. Training massive models, deploying smart apps, building the next big thing. But here's the catch: AI isn't just about algorithms or data, it's about infrastructure, the foundation that makes it all possible. When you start running real AI workloads, you quickly realize that not all infrastructure is created equal. You need raw power, low latency, and total control over your compute environment. And that's where bare metal comes in, especially when it's powered by Mirantis k0rdent AI, giving you dedicated performance for your GPUs, predictable costs, and the flexibility to run your models your way without vendor lock or limited by virtual machines. So today we're going to break down exactly what a bare metal server is, why it matters for AI, and how k0rdent AI makes it easier than ever to run high performance AI workloads at scale. My name is Angelica Ambrosio, and I will be your presenter today. I am a product marketing specialist at Mirantis, and I have a focus on k0rdent AI. I'm passionate about developer advocacy and building meaningful connections with the dev community. I have a background in technical marketing, platform engineering, and DevRel. I like to combine both my passions for tech and education by creating content that makes the complex tech easier to understand for everyone of varying skill levels. So I'm going to introduce our company, Mirantis. So for those who aren't familiar with Mirantis, we're the original private cloud pioneer. We built our reputation helping enterprises run OpenStack at scale, especially those with complex, high-performance infrastructure needs. After building and operating some of the world's largest clouds, we're focused on taking the next big challenge: AI infrastructure for the enterprise, service providers, and neoclouds. So let's start with a quick look at our global footprint. So we've worked with thousands of customers across 85 to 90 countries. We have teams in more than 15 ready to service them if needed. Our customers span almost every industry: software, finance, telecom. But what really sets us apart is our customer first approach. We're very customer first. So beyond our technology, we provide managed services, professional services, and in-house security team, giving customers the confidence to move fast without worrying about resources or execution. We handle the complexity so our customers can stay focused on what they do best, driving innovation and results. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today for our webinar. So here's the agenda. I'm going to talk about the three critical AI infrastructure challenges that many enterprises face today. Then we're going to talk about the price you pay for AI workloads. Then we're going to talk about bare metal servers, why they have untapped potential and they're optimal for AI workloads. And then I'm going to give a bit of an introduction about what k0rdent AI does and how this automates the process of streamlining bare metal. And then on the next step, we're going to talk about demos. So I have two demos prepared. I have provision bare metal, deploy Kubernetes with bare metal as well. And then we're going to wrap everything up. So basically, we're just going to talk about what problems that AI enterprises face today with their infrastructure. We're going to talk about what bare metal is and why this could be an optimal choice. And then I'm going to introduce k0rdent AI and how this automates the complex process of preparing bare metal for AI workloads. Then I'm going to show it in action and show how easy it is to deploy Kubernetes with bare metal. So at Mirantis, we see three critical infrastructure challenges today. So number one would be tech stack complexity. So running AI in bare metal, as we're going to talk about later, is super powerful, but there's a drawback and it's hard to manage by itself, at least. So buying servers and GPU is easy, but turning them into a usable multi-tenant platform isn't exactly a walk in the park. Few teams have the skill to do it well, especially with how new AI is. And then the second problem that we see a lot of people have is the customer experience. So customers expect the cloud-like experience with AI infrastructure. They want a familiar experience like what hyperscalers or the big cloud service providers have. So we're talking about seeing cloud console UIs. They want APIs, multi-tenant environment with ecosystem value added services, The pay as you go with the metering and the payment, low latency, high reliable environment. But it's very difficult to deliver something like that on a bare metal system. So the next problem that we see a lot is operational efficiency. And I'm going to state the obvious: GPUs are very expensive. So every percent of your usage matters. You don't want to spend too much for something you're not going to use. So we want to be able to share our resources safely and track usage closely. So we want to make using a bare metal server just as efficient as using a cloud server and still have that power so we can host our AI workloads. So we want to also develop an independent ability to operate and innovate. That means we don't want to rely on the hyperscalers for our everything. So be careful about like what kind of vendors you choose to work with and avoid vendor lock-in. Build the ability to run and innovate on your own so that way you have full control and flexibility. So let's take a deeper look at one of the problems that a lot of enterprises face while preparing for AI workloads. So AI workloads are very compute and data intensive, meaning that they use a lot of resources. And incorrectly configured or poorly scaled infrastructure could lead to performance bottlenecks. So that means that one part of your system is slowing everyone else down. And just think of it like when you're in traffic, there's always that one that's slowing everything down, right? And then virtualization overhead. So, what this means is the extra work your system does to run virtual machines should have been used for using the hardware directly, right? So, you're adding this extra layer, but if you want the full power, you should probably just use the hardware directly, right? And it brings me to our next problem: hardware resource competition. So, when multiple apps or users fight for the same hardware, this is like, the same resources: CPUs, GPUs, or memory. So, if you have all these different apps and all these different tenants on the same hardware, you're going to be sharing, you're going to have that noisy neighbor, right? But if you have your own bare metal server, you don't need to worry about having to share any of these resources. And then the next problem is higher operating costs over time. So even if your hardware costs stay the same, managing, cooling, powering, and maintaining your systems will get expensive really quick. And then lastly, network latency: the delay between sending a request and getting a response back over the network. So all of these can happen if, you just make one human error, right? One manual error, or maybe you didn't scale your infrastructure correctly. So, how do we use AI workloads and not have to worry about performance bottlenecks, overhead, resource competition, and all that, right? So, let's talk about bare metal servers. So, why should we use bare metal servers for AI workloads? So, what is a bare metal server? A bare metal server is a dedicated physical computer. No virtualization, no sharing with other users. Think of it as like you're renting your own personal high performance machine in a data center. But unlike these cloud virtual machines where multiple users share hardware through the hypervisor or the cloud provider, bare metal servers will give you direct access to all the resources. So remember I mentioned like having noisy neighbors? So the CPU, the memory, the storage, and the GPU, you have direct access to. You don't need to share with anybody, right? And why would this be important for AI? So you have your own high end workstation and you have that data center reliability and scalability, right? So you don't need to worry about where your resources are going. You have it all to yourself. You don't need to worry about someone, the noisy neighbor slowing you down. And you have that dedicated direct access to all of your resources. Remember, running an AI workload is extremely resource heavy. You can get that full power you need just by using the resources directly from the hardware. So, in summary, a bare metal server gives you dedicated power, control, and consistency: everything you need to run your AI workload. So, let's recap. So, what if there was a way to embrace the benefits of bare metal servers without the burden of bare metal setup? So that's like model training, inference, and data preprocessing. Like I said before, they're very resource intensive. They need massive computing power and consistent performance. And that's why bare metal is ideal. You need the full performance, no virtualization overhead. Your GPUs and CPUs work at full capacity. You have a customizable environment. You can fine tune your OS, drivers, frameworks to match your AI stack, whether that be TensorFlow, PyTorch, whatever you prefer. And predictable costs. You pay for the server, not per second usage or hidden transfer fees. That way you don't get any surprises when you get the bill, right? So it's perfect for long running AI jobs. And data control. Since it's single tenant, your data will stay isolated. So it's great for compliance and privacy needs. But here's the drawbacks. You have bare metal servers, which are really complex to set up. You have a lack of proper orchestration or monitoring, and of course, heavy resource demand, and you have limited scalability. So if you're doing a short AI job, it can't quickly expand. But this is why it's suited more for like long running AI jobs. What if I told you that you can get the pros and benefits of using bare metal servers and not have to worry about the cons with k0rdent AI? So let's talk about k0rdent AI. We're going to streamline bare metal onboarding using our platform. So that way we can use bare metal servers without worrying about that complex, messy, time consuming setup, right? So let's talk about k0rdent AI, our turnkey AI infrastructure. k0rdent AI is designed to help address the crucial challenges associated with AI infrastructure. k0rdent works across public, private, and GPU clouds. It's built for flexibility. It has a composable architecture. That means that you can mix and match the stack components that you need, and you can evolve over time. Unlike competitors with rigid one size fits all stacks, k0rdent gives you that full choice and control. It offers true tenant isolation, so multiple users can safely share the same infrastructure if needed. There is an integrated catalog for value added services, letting you easily build and offer new AI capabilities. Configuration reconciliation ensures everything runs just as you expect it, automatically detecting and fixing issues. The Cloud Console gives the users that familiar cloud like experience they crave with that self service tools and visibility. So, in summary, k0rdent AI helps clients maximize their GPU utilization, package and bundle services to meet their customer needs, and monetize their infrastructure through differentiated offerings. Let's take a look at the full picture, and I mean the full stack. So this is a full stack AI solution from bare metal to model. So k0rdent simplifies this infrastructure by automating the setup for bare metal to running AI workloads. We provision the servers on-prem or in the cloud. Install the OS and sets up networking automatically. So instead of, the long process of having to set up the OS and the networking on the server itself, we automate that for you. We configure GPUs and build clusters as needed. So I'm going to demonstrate that and the OS and setting up network in the demo. And then add key services like, for example, the NVIDIA GPU operator by default, and lets you layer on AI tools for training or inference. So here's the TLDR. k0rdent AI gets your AI infrastructure ready fast with everything you need already set up for you. So that way you can focus less on having to put everything together and focus more on innovation. All right, so how do we address the challenges that I talked about with bare metal? So number one was complex setup. So the problem was setting up AI infrastructure, provisioning servers, configuring networks, and tuning GPUs, which is time consuming, error prone, right? So k0rdent AI helps by providing the automated bare metal provisioning through an easy UI or API. We use pre-built templates for consistent cluster and service deployment. We reduce the setup time from weeks to just minutes. And then the next problem that we talked about was the lack of proper orchestration or monitoring. So that means without centralized control, these teams are going to struggle to manage and observe all the workloads across the nodes and the clusters. So k0rdent AI addresses that problem by including a central control plane for orchestration across bare metal, VMs, and Kubernetes cluster. So that means you get a built-in observability dashboard. You could track CPU, GPU, and memory usage in real time. Next also supports configuration reconciliation. So if there's a problem, we'll automatically detect it and fix drift. And next is the heavy resource demand. So the problem is that AI workloads consume massive compute, memory, and storage, which makes efficient resource use critical. So how do we help? We support GPU partitioning and multi-tenancy for smarter sharing. Align workloads with hardware via NUMA and PCIe aware scheduling, and we maximize utilization through automated bin packing and scaling policies. So what's bin packing? Bin packing is the process of fitting workloads or applications onto hardware as efficiently as possible. So it's like Tetris, right? So if you're trying to put your luggage in like the trunk of your car, you want to make sure everything that you need fits, right? So that way you're not using too much, you're not bringing too much with you, and you're not bringing enough that when you get there, you get problems, right? So bin packing, it means smartly placing your workloads on the hardware to get the most performance for the least waste. And then lastly, we have limited scalability. So the problem is that traditional environments can't scale quickly enough for short-term or bursty AI jobs. And that's how k0rdent AI helps. We enable on-demand scaling of compute clusters through templates and APIs. We work across hybrid and multi-cloud environments. We can expand to public cloud when needed. And we simplify the lifecycle management. We make it easier to spin up or tear down workloads. And let's go ahead and see this all in action. So I'm going to show a guided demo of how to provision bare metal using k0rdent AI. So we'll start with demoing how our platform streamlines the onboarding and the provisioning process. This feature enables a platform operator, for example, to onboard the bare metal in just minutes. So let's go ahead and take a look at our provisioning bare metal servers with k0rdent AI demo. All right, so here I have a demo, and let's go ahead and get started. So here is the UI for k0rdent AI. So we're going to provision a bare metal server. So we have our bare metal servers inventory here. Manage and maintain and monitor your bare metal infrastructure at ease. So we have these here discovered, available, provisioned, in use. And so what does this all mean? So quickly, discovered is the system has found and identified the physical machine on your network, but we're not fully set up yet. And then we have available. So your server's healthy, idle, and it's ready to be provisioned or used, right? We have provision. The server has been configured. You have your OS installed, network setup, whatever is needed, right? And is fully operational. And in use means that the server is running AI workloads. So we can go through all of these stages just using k0rdent AI. And we can just do these in just a few clicks. So let's take a look. So I have some servers set up here. These are available servers. So using the UI, I have the actions to turn off these servers if needed, turn on, reboot, delete, but we're just going to provision. So let's go ahead and hit provision. So we're going to hit provision, and here is the template for provisioning bare metal hosts. It's super simple. So here we have the editor, which is for, quick clicks, drop menu, right? We also have the YAML editor for more intricate additions. So let's go ahead and just go overview like what you need to do in the template. So here's again is the YAML form. So if you need to add any extra issues, we can add them here into the YAML directly. But here we can choose what kind of host OS that we get installed. We can also just enter an image URL if you prefer. Here we can add RAID, which is an optional step. And we have the network configuration. By default, it'll be set to your default network, but you can always add a new one, or you can use whatever networks are available for you in the drop-down menu. So here we have a couple of networks available. Here we can assign our SSH keys, which is optional. And we also have the user data. So you can select the scripts all here. And then we can add tags to our servers. Let's say for this one, we're going to go with Kubernetes Medium. And wow, just like that, I can provision my bare metal hosts. So once I'm done, I'll click provision bare metal hosts. And just like that, it'll take some time to load, but it'll be done. Your servers are now provisioned. And that's how easy it is to provision a bare metal server with k0rdent AI. So now that we have it provisioned, we can take a look at the monitoring observability side. So if we click one of our servers, you can monitor your resource usage and your network traffic. We also have the audit log. So here I can take a look at see who's doing what, making sure, everything here is okay. Everyone's doing what they're supposed to do. And that's pretty much the observability side for k0rdent AI's bare metal servers. So let's recap. With k0rdent AI, we can provision bare metal servers using a template, or if needed, we can just use an YAML editor and edit the YAML files ourselves. And then we can also control these servers with the UI. So you don't have to worry about having to manually turn on and off, reboot. And then you can see all the information that you need about your bare metal host with the monitoring observability. So I can see what resources that we're using with these servers in real time. I have alerts and audit logs available so I can see if there's any problems and if, see what people are doing and see making sure that everyone's doing what they're supposed to do. So let's go into like this scenario. I just finished provisioning 3 bare metal servers in just like 5 clicks. So I want to go ahead and deploy a Kubernetes cluster on these bare metal servers. And I have one more demo to show how that works. All right, so here is our guided demo on provisioning AI inference and bare metal clusters with k0rdent AI. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the provisioning process first. So here's our UI. Create a cluster, very simple. Hit create a cluster, give it a name. I'm going to call it after my cluster, right? We have namespace, select a namespace, and then we have several templates available. So provisioning clusters, you don't have to do every little field little by little. You can just have everything already available for you as a template. So we're going to make an AI inference cluster. So we would just go here, click AI inference cluster. Wow, that's all I need to do. You can add the provider credentials. We have the YAML editor available here as well. So if you need to edit the YAML directly, that's available for you. And then we have the basic editor. Here it's really easy. Just put in what control plane nodes that you need. Your AWS region, since we're using AWS template, control plane instance type, worker instance type. Everything that you need is all here. And then you can configure the GPU here as well. And then we have the cluster services available. So everything that you need for your cluster is already here in the form. And whereas you would have spent a long time, like hours, maybe even weeks or days, just trying to provision these clusters and get as many clusters as you need, this streamlines the whole process. So once we're satisfied, we'll just click create cluster. And then just like that, I have my cluster down here and my cluster is ready. See? So let's create a bare metal cluster. So let's create the cluster, give it a name. So I'm going to call it Angelica bare metal cluster. And then choose a namespace. Let's go with the default. And then here we have several bare metal templates available. So we have 3. We have the standard, the manage, but let's just go with standard for the sake of the demo. And then here we have, of course, basic editor, YAML, everything. You just need to put in the numbers, put in how many control plane nodes you need, that sort of thing. Configure your network. You can use network presets to cut down on your config time. So whereas you would take the manual process of having to configure your network, you can just have that already existing in there. So it's just click, 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 right? And then next, OS images. We have your SSH key access, Kubernetes setting, everything that you would need. And then we also have the advanced configuration. So these are more advanced settings like DNS server setup. So let's just take a look. So we have the privacy network interface and we have the DNS. You caught that? Yeah, here. So here we have the labels. Those are also optional, but let's just create our cluster, right? So we're going to wait, and our cluster is already being provisioned. It was that easy to provision a AI inference cluster and to provision a bare metal cluster. So let's look into observability and monitoring. So, as I mentioned before, it's actually really difficult to get insight on what resources your cluster is using and what kind of, host you're using, your provider, that sort of thing. So, we're going to take a look at the cluster details through the UI. Here, we can just monitor our resource usage and our network traffic. So, as you can see, I can see from just one glance. I can see how much CPU I'm using, memory, disk, network, my network traffic, CPU and memory usage over time. I could download my kube config here. I could edit my cluster. I could download the YAML, delete the cluster. Very quick actions. And then here I have the cluster topology. So that way you get to get a step back and view your cluster's, what's under the hood, your cluster topology. So let's see, we have the child clusters, we have the KubeVirt virtual machines, and then like the base worker nodes, bare metal, that sort of thing. And then we have base cluster nodes here. We have the KubeVirt VM details, and then we have our child cluster details. So we have this cluster status. So we have the status condition. So if there's a problem, I'll see it right away because it's always monitoring. So you will know right away if there's some sort of problem. Remember, I mentioned the alerts log? And then we have the services here. So we have the name, the namespace, all sorts of things that we'll need, right? And we're using a template for it too. So I don't need to manually install the services. I'm just using the template to do it. And that's pretty much it. That's how you provision AI bare metal clusters, whatever you'd like, with k0rdent AI. So I can provision my AI inference clusters and I can provision my bare metal clusters just like that. I can streamline the process. I can streamline the process of setting up my bare metal server, and I can get everything done in just a few clicks because everything's automated. We have templates. It makes it a lot faster. It only took me a couple of clicks. I mean, everything was already set for you, right? So that was the demos that I wanted to show today about how to provision AI clusters and bare metal clusters. So let's go ahead and go to our next slide. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend today. So we basically recap. We talked a lot about bare metal servers and why they're powerful for AI workloads, and why k0rdent AI can give you the benefits of bare metal, and you don't need to worry about having to set everything up because with k0rdent AI, we automate a lot of the processes for you. So I hope you found this session helpful and learned something new today. Through this session, I gave a clear picture of how k0rdent AI can simplify and streamline your AI infrastructure journey so you can truly be AI ready. If you'd like to see more, please reach out using mirantis.com/contact. So our book of demos link is up on the QR code above. And the QR code is here, so go ahead, take a minute, scan it if needed. And of course, if you would like to learn more about k0rdent AI, visit us at mirantis.com. Thank you for taking the time to attend today's session. My name is Angelica Ambrosio, and I hope the session was helpful for you today. Bye.